Hey, what's going on? Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Jets owner, Woody Johnson, and some comments that he made from a couple of years ago that has come to light today. But before we get started, I just wanted to mention that you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that fun stuff. Also, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Call in, leave me a question. I'll try to get to it on the show. So Jets owner Woody Johnson has been accused of saying some pretty racist and sexist comments. The story comes from CNN today. And basically what I'm going to do is just go through the comments. It's not an easy thing to talk about. Some of the things in here are pretty upsetting and gross, but we're just going to go through what he's accused of saying, and then once we go through that, what the Jets should do or the NFL should do next. So just the overall consensus from the article or generalization is essentially that he made some pretty broad generalizations about black people, and on top of that, he also made some comments that were pretty sexist as well. According to the article from CNN, ahead of an event for Black History Month, Johnson supposedly appeared agitated and asked if the audience would be, quote, a whole bunch of black people. Johnson would then go on to question why the black community would want a separate month to celebrate black history, and he argued that black fathers didn't remain with their families, and that was the quote, real change. In terms of the sexism comments, Johnson supposedly would hold meetings or gatherings in men's only clubs in London, obviously leaving out part of his group, which is represented by females. And according to CNN, a team at the embassy tried to get Johnson to do an event around gender-based violence in November of 2017. This source said, to which the ambassador replied that he was not interested because he's not a woman. He also talked about getting cheaper labor from women who, in his words, work harder than men and essentially taking advantage. He's also made some cringeworthy, that's the word they're using in the article, comments towards women and their looks that he's worked with. And it's a really tough situation that it's hard to talk about because in 2020, I'm not really sure how, or in this point, 2017, I'm not really sure how people still think like this, but it is something that is definitely important to talk about now. In addition to serving as the ambassador to England, Woody Johnson is the owner of our Jets franchise. So this is a Jets channel. That's why we're going to lean towards what this means for the Jets. When you look at what the NFL has done over the last few months in regard to social change and social injustices, this pretty much goes against everything that they've been, advocating for in terms of change. This is what they are trying to change. You can't, and no one should, I guess I should say, no one should think and say things like this. But unfortunately, people still do, and it's terrible that anyone does, but specifically for him, someone who owns a franchise and his quote employees, the players, a majority of them are black athletes. So how do you think they're going to feel when his comments come out and it's something like that? Or all the women who work in the Jets organization, whether anywhere at any level in the Jets organization, how do you think that's going to make them feel? When something like this happened in the NBA with Donald Sterling, they took his franchise away. There's no place for this kind of stuff in the NFL. I was hard on Dan Snyder and the allegations that came out about him last week. Same thing applies for Johnson. They're both those guys are not good owners. They've run dysfunctional franchises, and I wonder why. Because they're not great people. And I'm not going to sit here and be naive and think that every single billionaire is a great person and is squeaky clean, never done anything sketchy or wrong or thought horribly about people. That's probably not true. But in today's world, you can't get by saying these things. There has to be some sort of discipline at this point. You can't run an organization like that. It's not right. You have to create a space in which everyone feels comfortable with. I don't know how you can own a team, again, that a majority of its players are black, and they are the ones who are making you, a wealthy owner at this point. Yes, obviously the Johnson family had money before this. That's not what I'm saying. But as the owner of a sport where a majority of your players are black, it doesn't add up how you could think like that and then take advantage of those people who you were just putting down. It's awful. It's really terribly disgusting. I'm not Roger Goodell. I don't know what the NFL or he is going to do with both Snyder and Woody Johnson, but me personally, I don't think that there's any room for this in the NFL. Again, with the the way the league is going, they're definitely becoming a little bit more socially aware of certain things that they've done wrong in the past, and this points to all the things that were wrong in the NFL. To me, I love the league. I love the sport. It's so much fun. It's definitely the biggest league in America right now. The NFL is the granddaddy of them all. I'd put the NBA 2 and MLB 3 at that point, but the NFL is number one, cream of the crop. If you are saying to yourself that we are the best league, then you have to hold yourself to that standard. You can't let people like this own any of the teams in your league. If that's the standard that you want to set, that we are the best, we are the most popular, and here's the reasons why, well, then at that point you can't be a hypocrite. You can't let people like that own a team. It's just not right. The sad part is I'm not 100% surprised that these allegations came out. Woody Johnson has done some sketchy things since he's been the owner of the New York Jets. There's no denying that he's not one of the best owners. He's probably a bottom 3 owner in New York sports, which is saying something because Dolan's there, the Wilpons are awful, but Woody Johnson's right there with all of them. And the fact that something like this could happen under his watch, granted it has to do with what he's doing for the country, not doing for the Jets, but it's still, again, everything that he does, and especially since he's a person who's in a position of power, you have to be held to a higher standard. And it's just not right. It's really sad. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Should he sell the team now or be forced to sell the team? They remove him, whatever the case may be. I definitely think that's something that the NFL should look into doing. Again, it's terrible that these words are being spoken in 2020. It's really sad, but unfortunately not all that surprising. Let me know in the comments down below. Again, you can get at me on social media. Please make sure to subscribe if you're new here. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time.